Hi, everyone. This is Chris from Next Step Insurance, and I am here to talk about how to enroll and update your HealthSherpa account. I know it can be really confusing, and we just want to make sure that you are ready and set for the marketplace. So let me just get right to this and share my screen. All right, this is finding coverage for 2023. So we are sending out links, renewal links. You can also, at the end, I'll show you the link where you can do this yourself if you have not signed up for the marketplace. I'm going to walk you right through it step by step. So first, what you need to know on how to update your application. So you can have this on the screen if you want while you're doing it, or just go through this and then reference it as needed. If you're a current client of ours, you're going to get an email. This is the renewal email. It looks like this. It may often be in the junk mail. So make sure you look in your junk. It comes from no_reply@healthsherpa.com. And it'll say it's time to renew your health insurance plan. Just click on that email, open it up, and you'll see where it says renew your plan online. For if you're one of our clients, it will have my name on it. Just doesn't mean that Joshua or Ken or John isn't your agent. It just means that you're under the Next Step Insurance. So don't think that your agent is no longer your agent. They still are. It's going to take you right to the page. It's going to have your current information in there, your zip code, who's applying, what county. You can adjust at that time if you kind of know generalized what your income is. Go ahead and put that there, and you'll instantly see what your savings are up there in the savings and eligibility part. Now, you can go through the plans at that moment if you want, or you can just randomly pick a plan, do the application, and then at the end, whether you pick the one you wanted or just picked a random one, it will let you redo it. So I'm just going to go over the application part itself, not searching plans in this module. That will be in the next one. So once you click it, you're going to get the application. It's going to pull up the one that you put in the cart. And then there's a spot that says add a dental plan. We highly recommend not taking those. They're not necessarily good unless all you need is like one cleaning, because they are very simplistic. Most of them only have cleanings, or they may cover majors, and you're like, oh, this is really cheap for covering that, but you have to wait a whole year. And then if you don't click the right button next year on the marketplace, then you've lost all of it. You can get standalone dental. So just contact us or your agent, and you can get a standalone that is now yours for the rest of your life or as long as you need it. So hit the start application, and it's going to take you to the next page. So it's going to have your name and your social security number. So make sure that's correct. It should be. And then it's going to have your address. So the home address has to be a physical location, not where you receive mail. So if you live in a place that doesn't have delivery, make sure you put your physical location here, and then you can add the mailing address if that's what you need to add. Next one, confirm your contact details like email. You only need to enter one phone number, and even if it's your cell phone, just list it as home. This will help reduce how much they text you. You only need to enter one. You don't have to enter everybody's email on everybody's phone number that's in the system, just the main phone number of the main person. Next, confirm that everyone is getting coverage. So this page is going to show everyone previously on your application where you can remove or add people. It's going to have a check mark next to the people that need it. So if the spouse needs it, but a child doesn't, or vice versa, or maybe only the main person in the family needs it. So their names will be here, but make sure you uncheck the button of the people who do not need coverage on the marketplace, and make sure the button is checked for those who do. Then it's going to say, is everybody living at the same house? For the most part, you're always just going to say yes. The exception of the rule, which I did kind of say down here, is if you have a child in college in the same state. So if you put them in the same state, then at the end of the application, it'll let you pick a plan that's in their area. Now, maybe it can be the same plan that you are in, but sometimes they aren't the same carriers. So this way, if you put in their address and their college town in the same state, you would be able to pick a plan just for them. Confirm your married status, confirm you're going to file taxes. If you're claiming dependents, if you're single, it's going to ask if you are going to be claimed by somebody. So just confirm those. Next page, it's going to ask if you're living with anyone else under the age of 19. Answer is always no. If they are not a dependent, don't put their name on this application. It actually causes more confusion and makes a lot more extra work for you for it basically to say, we can't help you. So even if there is somebody under 19 living there, if they're not a tax dependent, don't add them to the application. Next, make sure your social security number is correct. Enter smoking status, confirm citizenship status, confirm you're not in jail, confirm whether you are or are not a Native American or an Alaskan Native. If you are not a US citizen, but here legally, that's totally fine. You just can enter your documentation here. It's kind of a long list. So if you need help, let us know, but these are all the documents that they have. And if you push on those, they may ask you to enter the number off the documentation, or you might need to send a copy of that documentation. And again, reach out to us. We are very happy to help with that. Then it'll ask if you're Native American or Alaskan, confirm on the next page if you're naturalized citizen. You can choose to say whether you are Hispanic, non-Hispanic, race, ethnicity. You decide. It doesn't really matter. You can add that or not. And just as an FYI, I thought it was interesting. Naturalized and derived are two different terms in two different things in terms of citizenship. A naturalization is given after you turn 19, whereas a derived citizenship happens before. And US citizens by birth or naturalization can't be deported. Next, you are going to enter your modified adjusted gross income. Now, if you don't know what that is, please check our YouTube channel and other spots called Understanding the MAGI, the modified adjusted gross income. Otherwise, the next page, you're going to enter it all in. Now, enter it as best you can, as most accurate as you can. The list of income options is actually quite large. They let you enter in the dollar amount monthly, biweekly, yearly payments, and more. But remember, if you don't just stick in yearly and you break it up monthly or biweekly, the system is going to calculate an entire year. So if you are only collecting, let's say, Social Security for half a year, don't put I'm collecting $1,000 a month because it's going to calculate it for a whole year. Instead, just say 6,000 yearly. And then if you see that in your current one, maybe that's what we did last year. So you just have to update it. If you're not sure, again, reach out and talk to us. And for self-employment, that's the only one that does not let you put it in any other way except monthly. So take your net profit, not gross, divide that by 12, and then stick that in as your monthly. And it kind of looks like this. So you can put retirement per year, self-employment per month. Maybe you've got two different retirement accounts or pensions. You can enter them multiple ways. You can enter a job. A job, you have to put the employer's name, the phone number. And again, you could do it by hourly or your gross overall that you're going to make. So any questions on that, reach out. Then it's going to ask if there's any deductions. The drop-down deductions are only alimony and student loan interest. So remember, it's just the interest. You can put in their other and put in like an IRA or 401k contributions, maybe HSA contributions, but keep those pretty limited to those four because most of the time it may not count and I would hate for you to pay taxes back. And if you overestimated your income, no loss, you'll get that money back. At the bottom, it's going to say, based on what you've entered, here's what we think your yearly income is. If it is correct, continue. But if it is not, go back up to the other previous part where you put the income and figure out why it's calculating incorrectly. If you try and fix it here, it won't necessarily actually fix it. It can cause more problems. So just go back up, make sure maybe you put monthly income in the dollar amount, but you actually said calculate yearly. I've done that quite a bit. And then you're going to repeat this process for everybody in the family. Next page, just leave these blank where it says extra help. These are really, they're questions to determine if maybe you need Medicare disability, but if you're on Medicare disability, you would already know that. So just leave these blank and it causes the system to be more confusing and sometimes ends up causing you to not have tax credits. So just leave those blank. Next one, it's going to ask existing coverage. Do you currently have it? Just say no, especially if you're renewing with us. Because while you do, then you enter, well, I do. And yes, it is ending technically at the end of the year, or maybe it's not in the system again. Not a smart system. It's really just a way to make sure you do not currently have VA, Medicare, or Medicaid coverage. If you do have one of those, especially 100% VA, contact us because you can't qualify for both the tax credit and these three plans. The next question asks about HRA. If you have an HRA, which stands for Health Reimbursement Account, please just finish your application and then contact us. Make sure we do it correctly to help you because it can cause some payback at tax time if it's done incorrectly. Otherwise, if you are not getting that HRA or ICHRA, QSARA, just skip it. It's going to ask about employer coverage. Now, all of our current clients should not have employer coverage, but maybe you did. Maybe you got a new one. This is where you would decide if it's affordable or not. So it's going to ask you if you're collecting or if you're able to get employer coverage. If you need help calculating that, give us a call. But I'm very happy to say that because of some changes in legislation, the family can maybe go on the marketplace now if it's deemed affordable. And again, the calculation's a little bit weird. So give us a call and just let us know, and we'll walk you through that and make sure it's done correctly. Next page, just leave those blank. Upcoming changes. That's for in case this is not open enrollment time period. This is the middle of the year and you got married or got divorced or moved here or lost coverage because you have a job. So just leave that blank, go to the next page. Then it's going to ask, is anybody receiving ICRA or QSERA? Now, if you don't know what those are, the answer is no, just continue. But if you are receiving ICRA or QSERA, just finish your application, but don't apply for anything and contact us because again, we want to make sure it's done correctly so that you are not receiving a penalty or, a payback at the end of the year because you didn't put it in correctly. Then it's going to give you one last look, big summary, long page of everything you've entered so far. If you need to adjust anything, just click the edit button right next to what you need to adjust. It'll take you back. And then you do have to go through the whole application and then you hit continue. If it's all good, just move on to the next page. Finalize. So this is the agreement part between you and Medicare.gov or Medicare.gov, healthcare.gov, the CMS. So you want to make sure that you understand this. So the renewal of coverage, what that says is to make it easier to determine your eligibility for help paying for coverage in future years, you agree to allow the marketplace to use your income data, including information for tax returns for the next 5 years. The marketplace will send you notice and let you make changes and you can opt out at any time. All this really is talking about renewals. So you already at the beginning of the application gave them permission to make sure you are who you say you are and things like that. Look at previous tax returns. This is in case on December 15th, you have not gone in and renewed your application, they will automatically do it on December 16th. So you can't lose coverage because, I don't know, you're on vacation in Boca Raton and you totally forgot. If you do get enrolled in the wrong plan, that's okay. Open enrollment is through January 15th, so we can change things and switch them around. And you don't want it to be automatically renewed because it often is not correct. Plans change, they change cost, your income changes. So we always want to touch base, but if you don't, you haven't lost it. And ironically, whether you agree or disagree, the system just seems to automatically renew you anyways. Education is when you read the fine print. Experience is when you get if you don't. So again, just making sure you understand the fine print on the marketplace. We talked about this in previous slides, but understand you're not eligible if you end up on Medicaid or particularly the Medicaid program. You don't need to be in both. If you're on the state program, just call, get that canceled. You don't need to be on the marketplace. You understand that if things, because the government is paying the insurance company on your behalf, their portion, you have to file income tax return. They need to make sure that the income you've just now put on this application is accurate. So pay attention, make sure you file your income tax return. And if you're married, you have to file jointly. You can't file single household or married single jointly. You can't do that. If you're married, you have to file together. The exception of the rule is if you are living in separate addresses and are legally separated, then you would just file as if you're single. And this application would also be as if you were two single people. You're going to expect no one else to claim you as a tax dependent, and you are claiming that everybody you've put on this application is also a tax dependent. So clarify and make sure that when you're entering this in for the next year, that all of your dependents will be a full dependent for the entire year. Because remember, IRS doesn't prorate anything. And if any of those things change, it could impact your tax credit. So if you have questions, call us. We're happy to walk you through. We've done thousands of these. You understand that when you file your income tax return, the IRS is going to compare. They're going to see what did you put on the application a year in advance and what are you actually filing. If you filed a higher amount, you could get some tax credits back. But if you fired a lower amount where you said you only made 40,000 and you really made 50, you're probably going to have to pay some tax credits back. It's pretty fair. They're not going to pay more than they need to. It is the IRS after all. Then after that, you just are going to sign that yes, you understand that everything you've entered is as accurate as can be. You're giving them permission, and you agree to allow everybody, if you would end up on Medicare, for them to cancel you. It doesn't do it right now, but you still need to agree that they are allowed to do that. Once you hit that, that's it. You hit submit, and now you're going to enroll in your plan that you picked. Looking at plans, how to compare them. If you liked the plan that you picked, just hit enroll in this plan at the bottom. Great, easy done. If you don't like it at the bottom, you can hit change plans. And that's where it'll take you back to all the plan options. And I have another class again that will talk about how to narrow that down, how to search for it better. If you want to be in separate plans as a husband and wife, maybe one person wants a different network. Maybe one needs a lot of medical expenses covered and one doesn't. So maybe a silver plan makes more sense than a bronze. You do not have to be in the same plan. You would just scroll to the bottom again below the enroll in this plan and hit shop multiple plans. That'll let you pick a plan just for the first person. And then it'll bring you back here and you shop for the second person. If you want to run your own quote, here's the link to my website on HealthSherpa for enrolling and quoting. We were sending out our renewals already on the 31st. So if you have questions, we are happy to help. Enrollment starts November 1st, ends December 15th for a 1/1 start date, but open enrollment runs through January 15th for a 2/1 start date. If you have any questions, put them in the box below. I will get to them as soon as I can, or give us a call. Thank you, Chris from Next Step Insurance.